Hello. So we are starting our first devotional. I'm kind of whispering because my kids asleep in the back. This is the only time I could do it. We're starting our first devotional in my vehicle because it's the only time I can find time. And then B, my phone is plugged in. My life is sort of a hot mess. I feel like I'm supposed to do this, but also I don't have a computer. Our fake Roomba, our cheap Roomba, tore our computer off the table and it shattered it. That's A. I don't really have a voice this morning. B. I'm aggressively poor, so I can't buy a computer, and I don't know how to edit videos. So we'll see how long this lasts, but I do feel like the Lord is working, and maybe He'll get me a computer. Maybe we'll just keep doing it on my phone. But I do feel like He's led me here for whatever reason, and so this time we're going to start in Matthew 26. I just feel like this is kind of where the Lord has led me. I encourage you to read it. So when I sit down and do a devotional, I look for the verse. It may only be one verse that they are on, but I go back and I read the entire chapter. Sorry, someone pulled up beside me. I'm a shy girl. I go back and I read the whole chapter because I want context, and you may read the whole chapter and get it in a different way. So I encourage you to pause this video and go read Matthew 26. So when you read Matthew 26, throughout the whole chapter, Jesus's disciples are being just normal Christians, and I feel like I'm this way when somebody does something that offends me, not even maybe even the Lord, or I just feel like they shouldn't be acting that way, they shouldn't be doing this, they shouldn't be doing that. I feel like I have to be God's hero, or I have to be like, you shouldn't do, like I'm the judge, and that's not what God called us to do. He didn't call us to be His hero. Jesus took care of all of that on the cross, and it's certainly not our place to see what somebody else is doing and think God wouldn't like that. We judge the mote that is in your own eye. But so Jesus' disciples are just be normal Christians, and so like the woman with the ointment in this chapter, she pours all the ointment out, and they say that's wasteful. You could have given that to needy people, and that's true. She could have, and some people, that is the way they feel. That is what God gives them, is you should have given that ointment to the needy. But God didn't tell that. That was not what she was supposed to do. She was supposed to worship Jesus with that ointment. And some people are called to worship Jesus by selling the ointment and giving it to the needy. But that was not what she was called to do. And Jesus says in the next verse that she did a good work. And so that's another thing I feel like we judge when somebody is doing something, and we think that's not what they're supposed to do, but we have no idea. He said it's a good work. What God gives you might not be what He gives someone else. And there's a lot of great things all throughout the chapter, but what I wanted to focus on this devotional, and what I want you to focus on in your heart today, and that's another thing, pause. When I read a devotional, I try to ponder on it throughout the day, or try to apply it to my life throughout the day. And so I encourage you to do that. But when Judas betrays Jesus and they come to take Him, it really struck me that Peter, he takes out a sword and he smotes the ear of the soldier. And I thought, I would do the exact same thing. I mean, they're taking Jesus away. Judas just betrayed Him. They're taking Him away, and you think what's right is defending Jesus, being God's hero. Again, that's not what He called us to do. He called us to be servants and to live for Him. And sometimes we can be rightful judges, but this really spoke to me of how many times do you pull out your sword and think that you're right, think that you're right by pulling out your sword, by making a comment to somebody. Like, you shouldn't be doing that. You shouldn't be acting that way. You pull your sword out and you cut their ear off. You hurt them when it's not your place, and it's not your place to be God's hero. Jesus was our hero on the cross. He already completed that. And so what I encouraged you to ponder on today, and none of this may have made any sense, but I just feel like the Lord really touched me with that. I'm that Peter where I pull my sword out all the time, and I feel like I've got to defend Jesus, or they don't need to be doing that, or whatever, and that's not my place. And I'm sure people will come and say, or comment, or say, we're allowed to judge righteously. The Lord does say in His Bible to judge righteously. He does. But that's a story for another day. I'm talking about judging, not judging righteously, judging appearance, judging outward, judging actions, judging without praying about it, without judging yourself first, but mostly praying about it. My mom always tells me a story. I always think of it, something in a situation like this. There's a man it's a much older time, a man at a church. He got saved and he was dirty. His clothes were dirty. He didn't act good. He didn't dress good. He had really long hair. Nothing, any of that matters. And he just gotten saved. And, there was some of the men in the church that wanted, to tell him, now that you're saved, you can't do this, this, and this. And you need to take a shower. And yada, yada. And my mama was like, you know what? Just hold up. The Lord's going to work on him. The Lord's going to work on the things that the Lord thinks that he needs to change, not what we think he needs to change. And slowly but surely, that man just started changing for what God wanted him to be. But anyways, that's what the Lord gave me. I don't even know if it sounded right, and I know I stumbled on my words, and hopefully I can get a computer or a better setting than outside while my kids sleeping. But please just pray for me and pray for what the Lord is trying to do. I don't know. I'm very shy, so this is a big step for me. But I just encourage you to read Matthew 26. Put yourself in those people's shoes, to love Jesus so much and see other people persecute him. And that's what we're seeing in our world today. And it's hard to see. It's hard. And I can't imagine. I can't imagine being Peter. I can't imagine being any of those disciples, and seeing people hurt someone that you love so much. And that's what you see today. And you want to pull your sword out, Anyway, so yeah, the end.